And good morning, everybody. It is Fabulous Friday featuring Dale Turnbull as we discuss business and leadership. Okay, Dale, I've known you for a while now, and I am intrigued by your new approach to this, because there is a lot going on in the world. Take it away. Tell us how you can help people in their businesses.
Okay, so leadership is an interesting quality. We always think about, okay, leadership, be a good leader. You hear about it everywhere. And there's a really big stereotype to what a quote unquote leader looks like. And to be fair, you've really embodied that well, Claudia, with a lot of your work with the Bunny Talk process. So leaders are normally quite upfront. They know where they're going. They set a direction. They set the pace. They're the one leading from the front. They're the go-getters, the people who really make things happen. That's the sort of generic stereotype of what leadership is, what business is, what entrepreneurship is. But I have a framework that's slightly different, that talks about how we are all leaders in our own way, how we all have certain leadership qualities. And it's about understanding, okay, how do we lead the best? What's our sort of default mode as being a leader? For some people, they're a lot better in the background. They're good at pushing people, guiding people, doing a lot of stuff in the background. Some people are those that really inspire others. Some people support others. And it's really about understanding where your strength as a leader is, because once you know that, you can then learn, okay, what are the other possibilities? Where can I adapt my flexibility? I mean, a lot of coaches and therapists I know listen to some of the work you do. And normally when you've come from a corporate environment where you've been a follower, so to speak, then to do your own business and you've got to be a leader, it's a whole different skill set. So it's how can you start to adapt those skills so that you can be a more flexible leader moving forward?
Yeah. Okay. What are you finding the barriers at the moment for people? What are they putting up that literally stops them from taking these steps going forward with any kind of leadership role?
So I'll talk about two different things. So one, I'll talk about new therapists, new practitioners, that kind of stuff, and the sort of barriers and the challenges faced by that audience. But my original background, I work within the corporate sector, the sales, the customer service, normally where there's a lot of turnaround, there's a lot of high pressure. And when you've got leaders in that kind of environment, it's really about, okay, when you get new employees, I always believe it's not necessarily that if you tell someone and they don't do it, it's their fault for not doing it. Yeah, they can take responsibility. But I always like to think, how can I leverage how I communicate to really impact that person so they're a lot more likely to do it and a lot more likely to achieve it? So that flexibility piece for those businesses is really key. And I'm actually keen to talk to sales leaders and people within those sort of service-based industries to find out what their experiences are. Because obviously with what's going on in the world, AI changes, the whole quiet quitting, all of the different stuff going on. I'd love to speak to people. So if you're interested, drop me a message and I'd love to connect.
Okay. So let me just ask that. I'm sorry about just jumping in. So you'd like to actually have a conversation with people who have a business right now and see what their challenges are. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%. Because what I'm looking to do is a deeper study into, okay, what's going on with business and with leadership. And I think a lot of the time, leadership, or how should I be a leader, comes down from what somebody just thinks, like a generalized opinion. This is how I lead. This is how I was successful. So you should do what I did. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but you're not that person. That person's slightly different. So I'm looking to, okay, how can you inspire the people around you? How can you get your team operating successfully and efficiently, but in their own way? Because everyone has different skills, different strengths and weaknesses, and how can you leverage that?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And I know that you obviously do a lot of different things with emotional intelligence, which I think is really phenomenal. And when I took your training, it was really great because it gives someone almost like a map, an overview of how someone can understand their baseline emotional intelligence, what's going on, how they think, feel, and interact in situations. And what I've sort of put together is every context in business is different, be it reaching out to someone, having a discovery call, being on a client session, doing a speech presentation. They're all different ways of showing up. So for me, it's less about, okay, what is your emotional intelligence, what that looks like as a snapshot. It's how can you adapt and become flexible from context to context in the businesses that you're working in.
And is that what you're curious about that, and then do you help them do that?
Yeah, so I have a framework called the 7 Positions of Leadership, which really demonstrates what your strengths and weaknesses are as a leader. So you actually know, okay, this is why I do that so well. Okay, this is where I struggle. That every leadership style has pros and cons to it. I mean, we all know the sort of person who's, I call them the righteous leader or the rightful leader, the leader who knows how to do it the right way. Do steps A, B, C, D, and you'll be successful. Now, it's great to be that way. It's great to have that perspective. But if you're the one that's always right, well, what happens if you're not right? Like, having those conversations can build certain tensions and certain challenges. And if you're aware of what your baseline is, you can then start to adapt and become more flexible. So I teach people how to become more flexible as a leader, but also really understand how they can shine.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Being flexible is paramount, because people will always have stuff going on for them. And so we have to be adaptable. Yeah, you're right. So many people are not flexible, and some people don't think about what else is going on for somebody else. So it's this is really good. But there's 7 positions.
Okay? Yeah, 100%.
So what made you come up with a 7 as opposed to 6 or 8?
Okay, so this originates from a work called Metaphors of Movement by Andrew Austin, and it talks about where we put people in space. Okay, so just to give you a bit of a frame on that. So if I was to say the standard hypnosis thing or NLP thing, picture a pink elephant. Now, if you picture it, you get a sense of where a pink elephant is. For most people, it's normally in front of them. But you could say, I don't know, think about someone significant in your life on a good day, because sometimes our significant others, we can have good days and bad days, right? But if you picture that significant other, when it's in a good place, where are they relative to you? Are they in front? Are they to the left? Are they to the right? Are they behind? Are they up? Are they down? Where are they relative to you? That shows the sort of position they take in that context. Now, you could get the same person or maybe someone you dislike in a specific situation you dislike, and you think about, okay, where is that person now? Or where is that? You put them in a different part of space. So in our brains, we organize, we put people in places. And by doing that, we put ourselves relative to them. So this isn't just like a model that I was like, oh, these are interesting personality traits. Let's feed it into a model and then present it. This is something that lives in our brains, in our minds. And I've worked to distill that to not only talk about and get you to understand where these things relate, but to understand the pros, the cons, and the skills you need to operate in these areas.
Okay. Nice. So the conversations you want to have with people are, are they by phone? Are they by Zoom? How are you wanting to interact with people?
Yeah, I love to jump on a Zoom with people, have a chat, have a conversation, find out what they're finding in leadership, the struggles, the type of personalities that they probably clash with. I'll give you a bit of an example. So me and my wife, we get along really well, but in certain contexts, when we both want to be right, it doesn't go down well. No. I'm sure other people have experienced that. Like, there's only one person who can be right. So when you're both fighting for that position, it can be hard work. So what would be interesting to explore is what your strengths as a leader are, what your challenges are, but also when you look at the people within your team, there's going to be an internal conflict. There's going to be a place or a position that you have for them that doesn't match up. And I want to teach you how you can start to change and shift that, but also get your team aware of those things. So it creates a dynamic that works together rather than creates conflict.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Well, good. So have you got a Calendly? Is that how people?
Yeah, I can send you the link so people can book in.
Yeah. Because if anybody's curious and wanting to find out more about where they are in the world, in their position, and because it is fascinating, I agree. And then, of course, I know that you can give other tools and strategies and make them think, really outside the box. of how they can be more flexible, adaptable, and all those wonderful things. So excellent, Dale. Okay, well, we'll get those in the link. So if anybody is interested and they are curious, get in touch with Dale, set up a one-to-one, and see how it goes. There you go. Got nothing to lose.
Exactly. Right. My pleasure to talk to all of you. And thank you so much, Claudia, for having me on. It's been great to be here.
Of course, of course. So thank you for watching, everybody. And it's goodbye from me, Claudia Rickard, and it's goodbye from Dale. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.